Please welcome the host for the evening, Manish Porwal, Managing Director, Alchemist Marketing Solutions.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. Sincere apologies that we're late today. Just was facing some technical glitch, I'm told, by the production team. But time and again, I do welcome you to this show, and we've had some wonderful episodes in the back, and we hope to get another one today. Today is special, ladies and gentlemen. Today is when we Indians
I'll keep
what
calling.
we're allowed to think and do, and not made to feel guilty about it. Basically, our Independence Day. The one difference we've hopefully brought on ourselves is the last 73 years is that we've graduated from thinking that true independence is only about true ability and power to choose right from wrong. Ignorance may be bliss, people, but it is not true independence. True independence only comes with knowledge. What we at Create Dialogues do is talk to these wonderful stalwarts from the industry, the real estate industry, and get them to share their knowledge, their experience, and their opinion with us. Of course, with the tadka of anecdotes and understanding of their personal lives as well. Who gave us the mantle? Well, nobody. This show is truly democratic. It is of the industry, by the industry, and largely for the industry, going very well with the theme of today, Independence Day. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Manish Porwal, and besides being the host for this e-talk show, I'm the managing director of Alchemist and Clay. Aided by my production team, I'm able to bring to you a learning and entertaining show today. So yes, please give us an hour or so at 4 p.m. each Saturday for the next two before we end season 1 and make you wait for season 2. If you happen to miss this episode, you can watch it, of course, on Facebook page later, but being live is another experience, including probably going through with us with all the glitches that we sometimes go through. And of course, it allows you to ask questions to these leaders and adds to your live experience. So it's time for me to announce our guest for today, another young man who has made a mark in the real estate industry. He can easily be called the reality czar of Thane, the most upcoming part of MMR. He's 50, but looks younger, and he has more responsibilities than most his own age. He's as spiritual as a cutthroat entrepreneur. His name itself spells as if it is complete in itself. Well, it's called Puranik. Let's play the video, please. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome on screen the managing director of an established and upcoming altogether real estate company Puranics, Mr. Shailesh Puranik. Shailesh has not just led his company early in life, but he has also been the powerhouse that drives the company today. Shailesh, welcome to K Dialogues. How are you doing?
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you, Manish, for welcoming me and calling me for this episode.
Absolutely our pleasure. In fact, we're looking forward to this episode for a while, trying to get you on board. I'm glad that you are in today. And I'm glad that it is a very, very special day. Happy Independence Day to you and to all the viewers who will see it now and later.
Happy Independence Day to you and all the viewers too. Thank you.
Absolutely. So as you know, Shailesh, we'll go in this show, and as you've been trained, I'm assuming by now that we have those 5 segments to the show. The first one, as it's called, is called Shop Talk. What do we do in Shop Talk? We talk shop, we talk business, we talk industry, and we of course talk Puranics. After that, in the second segment, we go a little closer, zoom in onto you, your personal life, what do you believe in, what you do not believe in, and so on and so forth. After we have done a little bit of scanning through your personal life, we then go into your friends and family connections in the third round. In the fourth round, we welcome questions. In fact, the questions can keep rolling in even now from audiences for you. Some of them will pick up now and some of them will be answered later. Please send in your questions. 2 of them or 3 of them will be picked up right away. And finally, we have what is called rapid conversations. Nothing else, but we had to differentiate. So we did from a rapid fire round, 20 odd questions from me to you, where you don't have to think, you just have to answer. And we want to know your feelings on that one. So you're ready to go, right?
Absolutely.
Wonderful. Looking forward. Okay. Normally, this is my first question, and I tried to change it, but I thought today, being special, I'll frame it differently. It's been 73 years of independence, right? Real estate industry has done very well in most of those years, if not all of those years. My question to you, Shailesh, a lot of things have happened in the recent state, right? COVID happened. Before that, GST, RERA, demonetization, everything that could have been a load on the industry. What do they truly mean for the industry and for your company in particular? I would like your frank opinion here, not the suited versions that you normally get to hear from everybody else.
Yeah, Manish, thank you so much for asking that question. I'll be frank here. I'll tell you, I think from 93, I have been doing this and joined this business after completing my architecture. And then there was an immediate boom in the industry. Everybody knew about 95 boom. And then again, it went down kind of thing. And then after that, I think I've seen at least 3 to 4 cycles of this up and down. And
Correct.
cycles have been shorter and shorter.
Correct.
Everybody thought that this time when it is a downturn, it's going to be a shorter cycle,
Right.
a V-shaped recovery, or there will be a U-shaped recovery, and a lot of things. But what we feel and what it feels like for our industry is like an L is what is happening currently. So you had the NBFC crisis, then you had RERA, then you have GST, then you have demonetization, not necessarily in that order. But there has been one blow after another to real estate industry. And I personally, as per my experience, I have not seen a longer time that it has remained down. Every time we hear that it's going to go up, and there's one major blow.
Right.
And after all these 3-4 tsunamis, then we had COVID thing happening, which is like, happening for the entire economy, not only Indian economy, but the world economy. But let me tell you, there is a silver lining. So if earlier real estate was suffering, I don't want to say this, but everybody's suffering. So, kind of some relief packages are coming towards our way. The relief packages are coming towards real estate way, although they are in a trickle, but they have started coming now. So that's why I said there is a silver lining. Because of COVID, perspectives have changed. Perspectives towards real estate and home as an investment has changed. So let us not go into detail, because I don't think this is a very, kind of a real estate show. But I feel that there's a silver lining. If you ask me and ask our company in particular, see, there are a lot of things we have done. Not only for last 1 year, but last 4-5 months when the COVID has hit. We have been using this time. We have been using this time to look at us, deep dive into all the processes, all the systems, the way we do sales, the way we give possession, the way we construct, the way our budgets are finalized. We have shifted to zero cost budget, whether we really need things that we are talking about, whether we need those huge, heavy investments in the advertisements. That's something probably will worry you also, that, really, is it required, that kind of spend, or all that is required. So everything is being challenged, everything is being looked into at our company level. Although we continued right from first day, I think 22nd March, right? We continued with our digital campaigns.
G.
And there was a time when our CPL, cost per lead, hit the lowest. Why? Because there was nobody else who was marketing. We gathered a lot of leads. We are sitting on 400 plus EOIs today, out of which I think 100 have got converted to bookings, because now lockdown is opening slowly. So a lot of positives. On a personal front, we all looked at ourselves. I got into health and fitness, more concentration into that, started devoting more time, 1 hour in the morning, 1 hour in the evening, towards myself, my family get-togethers, dinners or lunch table. On a lunch table, you sit together. So many things have changed. So although I know it is bad for real estate, Indian economy, world economy, but I feel there are a lot of positives also, which you can derive out of this COVID. And that's true for real estate, and that's true for we as a company, that's true for me as a person.
So, Shailesh, I don't know whether this is going to be a difficult question, but it's a hard question for sure. It may not be difficult. I keep hearing from experts, that definitely off camera, that is actually, it's like a cleanup exercise. What happens is that the bigger guys will benefit, people like you will benefit, and the smaller ones, the younger ones, the newer ones are going to have a problem. And therefore, there will be a 70% wipe off, let's say, of names. And is that something that you believe in, or you think this is not exactly that bad?
So Manish, no, it has been happening. It's not for COVID that this has been happening. It has been happening for last 3-4 years, right from the RERA and GST time. This has been happening. There's too much of consolidation that is happening in the industry. If you compare some of the surveys that some of the agencies have published in last 3 years, 50% of the developers have gone out of business.
Correct.
That's pre-COVID, and COVID is kind of hastened this process. You meet many channel partners today and brokers today. Even they are talking about we are shutting our shop. We are not doing business. There are also consolidation happening. Many CPs or brokers, larger CPs are surviving, and it's absolutely true for our industry also. In our industry also, there is consolidation which was already happening. It's kind of hastened. 50% have vanished. Of the balance, another 50% are on the verge of vanishing. So what will happen is, projects will not go anywhere. They probably get converted into just an agglomerator or just a person who acquires land, gets the sanctions and hands it over to a senior developer or a better developer or a corporate developer and things like that. So a lot of JVs happening, a lot of asset-light models being discussed, development management contracts happening, revenue share, area share, profit share, all these kind of things are happening in the market. So one, this is very good for industry. This is very good for us as a company. But at the same time, government needs to look into this, that, there cannot be only 2 or 3 players surviving in each macro market. So, that is how it will work. And you need to have slightly more number of players. And that's why even we have petitioned government, we have appealed government for a lot of incentives which should be coming our way. Stamp duty, GST, restructuring, some of things have already happened and some of the things are on the way.
So I have twin question out here. The first one may sound rhetoric, but it's not. So are you saying all were at Puranics? One. Second, does it also mean, what is that one thing that you had to change thanks to COVID? I'm sure there are a lot of things that changed, but that one thing that you want to talk about.
So I'll tell you what do you mean by all well, because how you come out of this and what is it that there is a takeaway from here. See, last 3-4 years, which have been the worst ever for the industry, we have grown 3 to 4 folds from 200 odd crores to we have become a 750 crore company in this last 3-4 years. That of course brings in the growth banks. And again, the COVID has hit. So I'm not, here to talk all the rosy things. Yes, there are the liquidity issues, cash flow issues, challenges there on the board. And then it is how you face these issues, how you face these challenges. What are the innovative ways of dealing with this? And of course, through that only, barters with contractors, barter with ad agencies, barters with marketing people, barters with your channel partners, and some of the other innovative ways of financing, and then giving a kind of subvention scheme which builder offers to your end customers, because HFCs have become stringent and they are, that loan to value ratio is a concern now. So there also what you can do to help your customers, what leeways you can do. You cannot, recover interest on the delayed payment these times. So at one end you have your lot of inflows which are stuck, and then there are outflows which are ongoing and happening. So you have to, you have to, spruce up. You have to buckle up to the challenge, and then take it head on. You have to stand there, face every situation, because in real estate we always saw that, there is every day is a firefighting. So how do we handle those fires? How do we work on certain areas so that there won't be a fire afterwards? So it's a learning game.
There are a lot of real estate people watching this entire thing. My question is only one. What is that one thing that you did which made you prepare, or let's say prepare the best that possible that you could for this onslaught of COVID?
So I'll tell you, there are a couple of initiatives which we had started internally. So one was, of course, the zero cost budget, which I talked about. But alternatively, we also did what is called as, it's a 15%. We had set a benchmark that 15% cost reduction in whatever we do. Okay. And each department, each person, we will go out and renegotiate our contracts, renegotiate our suppliers, renegotiate our, vendors, renegotiate with ad agencies, renegotiate with bigger media houses, everything, lawyers, architects, whatever the price you are giving now, we will renegotiate for a 15% cut, because you don't see margins today in the market, and 15% of cost means 5 to 6% of a bottom line, which is very, very important. So that is first thing we did. Second thing, every person should become a salesperson. So we have targets given to our employees, our not only marketing team but finance team, construction teams, that this much you have to sell by way of barter, by way of offering these to your consultants, to our architects, to our RCC people. So they are also working on selling.
And how was that taken in the people? I mean, imagine a person who's actually into accounting and then giving targets. How do you manage that?
So I think everybody's earning today. We have a program, very successful program called Purple Circle, which is basically for our channel partners. Then we have Purple Inner Circle, which is basically for our employees. So we have very huge referral discounts, referral incentives that we give out to our employees. So if an employee is booking himself, or if an employee booking to his near and dear ones, or through his reference somebody is coming, then there are some huge incentives that we give out to our employees, and that has been working phenomenally. We are selling 50% of our apartments, villas, everything is getting sold month on month through this PIC channel, which is Purple Inner Circle, which is employees basically, and all the references and contacts coming from employees. So it is working fantastic.
Wonderful. Nice. Now that we are agency on the other side, we'll get to know any which way a little more on this part, and I'm looking forward to know that. But Shailesh, I'll move on in the questions. You're a second generation entrepreneur, right? And besides your guts, which come genetically, I'm assuming, you also brought architecture as a science to the company you lead. Tell us upfront, what changes really did you see happening, or did you make sure that they happen in the company when you started taking over?
So, no, let me be frank. So my father is also an architect.
Right. He is. Okay.
An architect. So there were certain things which my father was doing earlier, but we never had a huge architectural department. So we were relying on external people. We were a very small organization. When I joined, we were a 5 people organization, and I think recently we crossed 500 people organization. So very less number of people working. So that bent of mind my father had, and I have, but I kind of taken it to next level. I don't want to boast here, but then we have a full-fledged architecture department, a full-fledged licensing department. It's not only that. So we have everything that happens in-house. We even have our own creative studio. We have our own agency registered with INS. So all that. So we have done it. We have taken it to next level, and we have tried to do a lot of backward integration. There was a time when we had done the entire campaign for the local MCHI exhibition. There are some of the other players for whom we had worked out some campaign and given out to them. So it's only because I like doing creative things, and I like designing and curating campaigns. But otherwise, on the architecture front also, whatever we come across, we do a lot of brainstorming internally, which committee comprises of people from all the departments, be it finance, be it marketing, of course, but some of the other departments, construction, and then we come up with a lot of newer themes. And I think that is something that we are able to give to people in this mid segment is only because of this innovation bent of mind that we as a company have, and which benefits us and our customer to a huge extent.
Okay. So before I show you a video, which I want to ask one question. There is this great following that you have in your company, and at the same time, I smell something else out there. It said that in the company, probably it said that "Kar lo yaar, nahi to ye to sab kuch, everything Shailesh can do himself." ये नहीं करोगे तो वो भी कर सकता है, और ये भी कर सकता है, और वो भी कर सकता है. So it looks like you're a multitasker. Is that true?
Yeah. So what has happened is, when I started, I was doing kind of everything, and then we kind of expanded and had many departments in place and all that. So I was not getting into a lot of things. But I think, as you rightly said, because we wanted to buckle up and maybe look at all the costs, look at all the processes. So for last 1.5 years, I am actually getting into a lot of detailed processes.
Right.
How is construction happening, the marketing or the sales on site, what is the process? I'm kind of getting into everything. So people are afraid that, because they cannot fool me. They tell me something, I can make out that whether he's lying or he's talking the truth. Probably because I understand the subject. That's all.
Wonderful. So before we move on, I want to show you a video of somebody very dear to you and also very, very important to the company, the Group CFO of Puranics, Mr. Jitendra Mehta. Let's see what he has to say. We got some bites from him.
Hi, this is Jitendra Mehta, Group CFO Puranics. About Shailesh Puranik. What to say about Shailesh Puranik ji? It's very difficult to say in few words. Let me try. Shailesh Puranik. What boss can be? I think he is the ideal boss one can have, or one can aspire, or one can desire to have. He has a lot of patience. He is Mr. Cool, very understanding, and a very, very fast decision maker. He has a multifaceted personality, whether it is sports, whether it is business, or even spirituality. He is master of all. You can discuss with him anything under the world, whether relating to construction, architecture, or finance, or accounts, or investment, or legal provisions, or even trekking or intermittent fasting. He not only understands it, he can give you valuable inputs. That's all. Thank you so much.
So I think that is something like, it is a blessing in sometimes, but at the same time, it can be a problem also because you understand a lot. So then you tend to not give out and not empower people. So I think that is something that you need to look out for. That one, if you want to empower, then you really want to empower.
Correct. Because you may be typing faster than your secretary, but then if you type, then what will your secretary do?
Yeah.
That's the issue. Okay, let's come back. It's often said real estate is owner driven, right? I mean, and this is a difficult question again that I'm asking you. We are told that a lot of employees, are taken from the Marathi community, particularly Marathi Manu. So is it to do with that you're comfortable with them? Is it to do with that they're more hardworking, you believe? Or is it just the familiarity, or what is it?
So the fact is, it is not the truth. It may appear to be. So, for example, you just showed a video of a group CFO,
Yes.
Jitubhai Mehta. So he's a Gujarati, complete
Correct.
out Gujarati. Then you have our sales head, Jogesh Nair. He's a South Indian. We do have some Marathi people. We do have a lot of other people also.
Don't worry. This was not serious. I just wanted to put you on a spot. That's all. Don't worry. Absolutely not. But let's watch another video which is coming up, which is something that comes up from somebody who's an associate and a friend, both put together. So we were not sure where to put this video, but we decided to put it in the first segment itself. It's from Amol Shilpi, who's a friend and director with you, right?
Yeah.
So let's hear what he has to say.
Hi, I am Amol Shimpi. I am Associate Dean and Director for RICA School of Built Environment, Amit University, Mumbai. Today I am going to speak about Shailesh Puranik, who has been a dear friend of mine since 1980. So it's almost 40 years it has happened that we know each other. Shailesh is an architect turned developer, a rarity amongst today's developer. So he doesn't only think about profit, but he also simultaneously think about the people, his customers, his clients, his financiers. He worries about everyone. He also looks at the sustainability as one of the most important aspects of his project. So I can say that as a colleague of Shailesh, I can say that he has been doing his best in terms of doing the development, at the same time not losing the sense of aesthetics. As a friend, he would put his best efforts for well-being of his friends. He is an excellent singer, a poet, and also he spends a lot of time for corporate social responsibility activities. I hope that Shailesh continues the kind of streaks what he has.
Hello? Yeah.
Yeah, Manish. No, there's a problem in that video, Manish. He said we know each other for 40, but I have not turned 40 yet. I don't know how he says that.
Good one. You can take it up with him later. He exposed you. Well, you are known to be one of the younger 50s out there. So you can't help it. People already know I introduced you like that. Yeah. Good one at that. Shailesh, let me ask a very straight off, simple question. Now, you have been a practitioner at leadership. There are a lot of new people these days. Younger people take more charge, right? If you were to say, and I'm not saying that you're giving your retirement speech, but I'm saying if you were to tell, what should these younger leaders follow? What are the top one, two, three things that will make them a better leader, specifically in this industry?
Yeah. But see, I'll tell you, for the real advantage with younger people are that they are coming on board, coming to you, or coming in joining the company with a lot of knowledge which they already have. It's that I have to learn a lot from the younger people because we employ a lot of IIMs and graduates, and frankly, when I'm interacting with them, I learn a lot from them. So I don't think they need any advice and guidance from me. I think it is like, how they talk about doctors. The youngest doctor is the most experienced one because all the learnings, whatever are there, they kind of get trained in the college. So I think it is true for all these new business schools and the younger lot coming out of business schools. They will suddenly come up with something which you have never thought of. So I don't think that besides maybe a little bit of patience, I need to tell them anything.
Okay, patience it is then, coming from the big man himself. He says, have the patience to all the younger guys and it'll come through, is what I'm hearing. Okay, just the last question in the segment and then we move on. Any specific plans that you have for the next 12 months? And I'm not talking personal here, I'm talking business. What are the specific plans in the next 12 months?
So I think the most important plan for next 12 months is, of course, we have a SEBI card with us, which is valid till almost next year. And starting of next year. So I think our first target is that hit the market as early as possible, as soon as possible. Market has already started reviving. You have seen some issues doing really well, especially one REIT doing well. So which is again real estate, although not residential but a commercial space. And we have received encouraging response from the earlier roadshows that we did. So I think the first most important plan and our target is of course the public issue. A lot of other things, as I said, that we are working a lot on cost, we are working a lot on bottom line, we are working a lot on faster constructions because faster construction means better bottom lines because the new month you add, there's so much of interest which is getting deducted from your bottom line or a profit. So I think increasing the speed everywhere in decision making, construction, sales, and not waiting for anything, not waiting till the building gets completed and thinking of selling the inventory at a better price. So we are not looking at that. We are looking at faster sales and get out of the project as soon as possible because it's become better. It's a commoditized business now. It's like Me Too products, 1 BHK and 2 BHK and lesser size and bigger sizes. You really do not offer anything more than that to our end user. And then a new project coming is always have a better amenity than the earlier one, and you don't get the right, the kind of appreciation which you have got in all these last 10, 15 years. So I think it is getting in and getting out as fast as possible. So that is our focus for next 1 year.
I get that. And with that, I'm going to move on effortlessly, if I may call it, from your business and you to just you, if that's all right. So here we talk, you talk, as we say, and let's get to know Shailesh a little better as a person. Shailesh, a question and a straight one.
Yeah.
If you are not a real estate person, who would you be?
Yeah. So there are a lot of things I have contemplated. So photography is one. So I actually during my college times I had I was wanting to do a exhibition of my own photographs and get into photography as a full-time profession. I had contemplated that, and I think second important my passion is my singing. So I really wanted to be a singer. So I would have been either a photographer or a singer if I would not have been into real estate or an architect.
So do you manage all of this? You're a singer, you're a photographer. I believe there's a lot of spirituality that you bring to the table out there, right? Yeah. That's there, and of course you're a cutthroat entrepreneur, as I know, and I'm facing firsthand. So if you put this together, how is it, that there are so many people within this one person, or do you find it very easy to toggle?
No, there is nothing to toggle. Right. So if I'm setting this, the video frame right now, so if I understand the composition well, so
Correct.
I have a better, control on this than if you're setting multiple cameras. So then I understand a bit about photography. So everything comes in handy, and it's really not that you have to toggle between this and that. I think one of the first and most important lessons that I have learned from my master, my divine friend, we call him Dada Sriji, his divine light is here. So is that, there is really not a difference between a spiritual life and a material life and spirituality and whatever you are doing in your material life. In fact, they, very, very well balance out each other. So if you are growing here, this starts reflecting into your material life as well, because they are not separate. It's like your inner world and the outer world. It's like roots of the tree. The deeper they go, the tree is stronger and flourishes more and more. So it is like that, and that's what I've been, I've learned. Not only learned, it's not my knowledge. I have been experiencing it. The way I deal.
Tell us a little more on this. See, the business part of it, specifically real estate. I mean, when you're not selling products like soaps and shampoos, if you're selling something very big, we all know that there are issues, and we all know that you have to deal it in a very karmic, very worldly ways. And the other side is spiritual, which you are not just a practitioner, you're actually now a giver, right? Weekends you take sessions, right? Am I right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
How do you manage this? Because spiritualism is a lot about denouncing. It's all about not necessarily wanting all the wealth in the world, whereas your weekday job is all about creating wealth.
Yeah. So
how do you manage this?
So now I feel like answering questions which comes in my spiritual discourse. So see, I tell you, there is no difference, as I told you, and there are certain decisions that you have to take at practical level at a point of time in your life. I'll give you a simple example. You are an employee in an organization, and your immediate boss, fires two of your colleagues, and then you get furious with that boss, and you are very upset with him why he's doing it and all that, and you probably do not understand. 3 years down the line, you come into that position, and then you are told by management, or you yourself realize that my department is not functioning to its fullest capacity and being a burden. I need to let go of certain people so that everybody starts performing better. The performance of the department on a PRN basis is better, and you have to take that decision. So that time you understand, and oh, that was the right decision, and I was unnecessarily cursing him and telling him that this is a bad decision that you have taken. So there is nothing like right, wrong, a decision which is bad and good or something like that. It is at the point of time in your life what is the right decision that you feel like taking, and there is no guilt inside you, and you understand it well. A boss who was removing employees, he feels for the employee, but at the same time his first priority is the company, the shareholders. So does he take care of the shareholders, or does he take care of the employees? So probably you will be humane when you are removing the employees. So you will talk to him, give him guidance, try to place him somewhere, help him for 2 or 3 months, but then you have to let those people go. Either they are not performing, or you have to reduce number of people. Whatever the decision that you have to take as an MD of a company will change at what point of time in your life or in the life of that company.
Shailesh, fair. I agree where you're coming from, but this one is, let me say, a little easier a decision. I'm not saying that it's very easy or very simple, but slightly easier than, let's say, in the first 5 days, being who you are, you have to do things which may not be exactly absolutely all right to do, right, to make the business work. You have to obviously be in competition. You have to do better than others. You have to actually climb on somebody's maybe shoulders to get somewhere. And the other side is the weekend, when you say, okay, this is who I am. I'm not trying to distribute it as a weekend versus weekday. I'm just saying another time where you're thinking spiritual, where it's all about, hey, why do I need so much? I'm all right with a little. How do you manage these? That's my question. So the question is not about only firing. Question is about the making money and wanting to make money versus wanting to make peace with the world.
So first is you feel that making money is not spiritual. First is you feel that when 5 days you are working, there is no spirituality inside you, and only 2 days on Saturday, Sundays when you are taking sessions, that is the only time you are being spiritual. That is the first myth that anybody has, but we all have it. I will not blame you, but that is something that we all have. In fact, in one of our sessions, we take one session which is called Myths of Spirituality. And it starts with this, that, being spiritual, first myth that we need to bust is being spiritual is going away from the material world. Renunciation is not something that you go out in the mountains and start meditation. Renunciation, that you are in this material world and then you are not attached to each and everything, and you are doing this in a completely detached fashion. What happens that you renounce something internally, your approach is changing, your outwardly behavior not so much, but your approach is changing. You are calmer in a situation, you are tougher in difficult situation, you are able to take decisions which are not emotion based but the practical based, or there is not mind coming in between which is troubling you. So spirituality is not something. I only take discourses or sessions on Saturdays, Sundays. That's only because of my time commitments. But the first thing that is told to us by Master, that you can only preach what you're practicing.
Correct.
You cannot preach what you're practicing. And that is the first lesson, the spirituality that, the Maitri Bodh Parivar, which I'm associated with, it talks about transformation. It talks about being in the material world and experiencing spirituality from within you and changing your approach, first becoming a better human being. Because what you want is very abstract, the divine enlightenment, it is something that you cannot think, you cannot imagine what it is. So something will not be clear. What you can know, that how I am becoming a better human being, and why do you feel that earning more money is not a better human being? I am not saying that you can earn by doing some wrong acts, by cheating, by troubling others. But that is true for any material world thing that you're doing.
So,
Does not mean that you don't earn money. That does not mean that you are competitive in a cutthroat way. You have to be. Why can't you be competitive? A spiritual person can be as competitive as any other person. There is no need. It is our mind, especially Indian mind, because I take sessions for Europeans and Middle Easterners and rural Maharashtra, Marathi people also. This is a concept that Indian mentality has, because from our childhood, we have been trained. This is spirituality. Wearing those orange clothes and going out in the mountains and renunciating everything. That is spirituality. That's what, that is ingrained in our mind. That's how we are brought up. But it is not so. Actually,
Definitely no. I was not talking about that, but I get your point, and I quite agree with you. I was just saying this only. How do you live with spirituality when it's such a cutthroat world where you have to do things which may be slightly on the border of what one can call immoral or almost illegal, etc.? Or do you have to just go away from that, and that brings in the change? But I'll stop my questioning from here. My questioning changes a bit. 2014, I believe something happened, and that's when you actually changed quite a bit as a person, or what you were carrying to the world, etc. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, so it's the same thing. I think there are two parts of my life, and I've said earlier also in some forums that 2014 is the time when I met my master, our divine friend, my divine friend Dada Shriji, and I got introduced and associated with a social spiritual organization called Maitri Bodh Parivar, and then my life changed entirely. So what I mean is, in the outward scenario, you will not see anything change. I'm just doing the same business. I'm doing the same things I was doing, but the way I'm doing things, my state of mind, my way of handling things is completely different now. So probably talk to some of my HODs, some of them would tell me that that earlier when we were entering your cabin, we'll pray that we let the boss be in a good mood, and let him not shout at me and tell me and hold me to a lot of things. So which is not happening. So I'm probably getting a better work done from my HODs. I'm just giving one example, but they also feel happy about it. So that is one change. That is something which I did not realize it. One of my HOD came to me and told me. So that's how things have changed. I have the same amount of time. I'm doing the same business, and I'm finding time for myself more. I'm finding time to do spiritual sessions. All my evenings and nights because I'm part of that organization also. There is a lot of organizational work which keeps on happening because we are expanding as an organization. Mitribot Parivar I'm talking about. Me and my wife are in charge of entire Middle East region. In fact, she heads that region. So I have to assist her. Then there are a lot of training session happens which we receive training from, or we have to give training to conductors which are getting trained. So I have the same amount of time with me, but
Okay.
I'm finding time and I feel happy doing it. I do feel drained, but to tell you a simple thing, I was taking a BP tablet 5 years back, but my doctor had told me that you will never stop this. Touch wood, the point came in my life that I had to stop taking tablet and my BP is fine. So these are the kind of changes
How
which
lovely
are,
is that?
yeah.
Wonderful. Okay, let me at this stage show you another video which I've been waiting to show you. This
Sure.
is from Mr. Yogesh Puranik, your brother,
Yeah.
director and a close associate, of course, at Puranics. Let's see what he has to say.
Yeah.
Good afternoon. When I think about Shailesh, two things always come to my mind about his visionary thinking, and secondly, the quick thinking on way forward of that vision, how to implement those vision as early as possible. And if you look out our business, our company, our growth, our projects, you can easily correlate those things, which comes out very effectively. We have theme-based projects. We have our expanse is very vast. Third, the quick growth. If you look at it, so all those things is reflected in our business. Thirdly, I would like to share a couple of things about him. I remember when we joined, and it was a very nascent period when we four brothers joined. In a very first meeting, he has expressed or he has elaborated his vision very effectively, and it was not about 1 or 2 years. He has come out with a 5 to 10 years of his vision, and followed back the way forward also, how we can implement those things with the clear milestones. So that was really amazing. At that young age, he has come out with so clearly, all those thoughts.
So,
About being spiritual, he looks more sadhu than me.
that's a good compliment to have. Okay, I have a question on this one, and specifically coming from this comment. Just a simple answer. If you were to tag yourself, will it be that you are a strategist or whether it be that you're a tactician? What are you more? Are you a long-term strategist or are you a tactician who gets things right?
So I think you have asked the right question at the right point of time. I am a strategist and Yogesh is what is the word you use?
Tactician.
Yeah.
Get things right there and then.
Yeah. So I am the strategist and he's the, I'm the CEO, de
Uh-huh.
facto, the COO de facto. That's how.
It's so wonderful, Shailesh, you're using the same terminology I used to use for me and my boss long ago, who I have a great regard for. He was the true CEO and I was the true CEO that in those days, and it works beautifully. It's like a left hand, right hand combination.
Yeah.
Beautifully. Wonderful, got that. I want to show you another video, this time of Amita Ambekar, who's an architect and a head at your group, working in that department for over 16 years now, right?
Yeah.
Let's see what she has to say.
I, Amita Ambekar, working as Head of Architecture and Licensing Department in Puranics and more so under the able leadership of Mr. Shailesh Puranik. Shailesh sir, as I normally call him, is a multifaceted person, a great boss, an excellent mentor, an able leader, a best friend, critic and advisor. He is an encyclopedia of real estate business, an architect by profession, but has excellent knowledge about all the other departments like marketing, sales, construction, finance, legal, and just everything. A very knowledgeable person, but yet down to earth. You ask him about anything and he has answer for everything. He's full of energy, working 24/7, 365 days, and I have never seen him complaining about work or have seen him tired. He's an inspiration to all of us to stay healthy and fit. Overall, he's a great human being.
Again, Shailesh, health, fitness, singing, poetry, spiritualism, cutthroat entrepreneur, everything rolled into one. I'm glad to be in front of, or at least E front of such a person. Shailesh, at this stage, is it fair to ask you, if at all it's possible? I mean, you're a poet and you're a singer. Would you like singing a few lines for us, or telling us a poetry which may be contextual? Anything? Is it possible?
Okay, maybe I can try to sing 2-3 lines. Then you tell me if it is music to ears, we can continue. Otherwise, we can,
No, we are happy to hear whatever number of lines that we can.
Yeah.
It'll be good. It'll be a change in the show.
Yes, look at lyrics. Yeah. So it's an old song. I'm not really sucker for old or new, nothing like that. Just songs I like. I
Pick
sing.
it up. Great.
Some of the
Fantastic.
songs are slightly difficult to sing with all Sufism coming in. एहसान तेरा हो
Oh,
मुझ पर दिल चाहता है वो कहने दो मुझे तुमसे मोहब्बत हो गई है मुझे पलकों की छाँव में रहने दो एहसान तेरा होगा मुझ पर
go on,
Thank
go
you.
on. Please go on.
Okay, I'll try to sing another one.
I mean, I have heard Mohammed Rafi with this song, and I've always loved this song, but it's always good to hear it from you. Please go on.
So I'll sing another one.
Okay, sure.
वो शाम कुछ अजीब थी ये शाम भी अजीब है वो कल भी पास पास थी वो आज भी करीब है वो शाम कुछ अजीब थी झुकी हुई निगाह में कहीं मेरा ख्याल था दबी दबी हंसी में एक हसीन सा गुलाल था मैं सोचता था मेरा नाम गुनगुना रही है वो मैं सोचता था मेरा नाम गुनगुना रही है वो न जाने क्यों लगा मुझे कि मुस्कुरा रही है वो शाम कुछ अजीब थी.
Bravo. Absolutely wonderful. Ladies and gentlemen, I must tell you that in the 9 episodes, this is the first time when a guest has sung for us. And
Thank
he
you.
has sung not just Mohammed Rafi and Kishore Kumar, my two favorites, absolutely out there. The people, the singers. Thank you so much, Shailesh. That was really nice.
Thank you.
That was amazing. But, I would love if all our participants can send nice claps out there. I mean, we would love to hear that if we can, because virtually only they can, and otherwise we would have heard a thunderous applause, I'm sure. Okay, let me move on to a simple question. So, a lot of young people, and I'm considering for real estate and for politics, you are still young, both ways. What do you maintain a bucket list? Do you have something that you definitely want to do? Of course, and the other thing I forgot about you to talk about is your travel, right? You're a avid traveler.
Yeah.
So is there a bucket list that you have which you want to kind of tick off?
Sorry.
Is there a bucket list that you have which you want to tick? This is what I want to definitely do.
Yeah. So I think going to North Pole and South Pole is one of the bucket list. I have going to Everest Base Camp and Kailash Manasarovar trekking. That is another thing because I like to trek a lot. I've done many treks in Himalayas as well as Sahyadris also. Maharashtra that way,
Correct.
blessed in a way that you get so many mountains here. But I think there is something different about Himalayas, and so I really love trekking in Himalayas, and I would want to visit a lot of good treks. Of course, one of them is Kailash Manasarovar and Everest Base Camp, because that is, I think, the farthest. It's something that you can, test your physical fitness also. That when you're going to 5,000 or 5,000 plus meters and staying there,
Right.
it's something that you need to test your fitness also. So that is one thing on my bucket list. And of course, there are certain places in the world. I have not been to very remote areas of Russia, Siberia. It gets very, very cold in the winter, minus 40 and minus 50. So I have gone to minus 20 degrees, northern parts of Norway. I have stayed in a ice hotel. So it's minus 5 degree. Entire hotel is made out of ice. Everything is made out of ice. So you go to a bar, the cup is made of ice in which they serve you liquor and everything. So I've done all that, seen northern lights, but I really would want to go to Siberia, which is the coldest part of Russia, and that is another thing that I would really want besides, say, North Pole and South Pole.
Okay. So we are hearing all, I'm getting this picture of a very perfect person who is like all good and everything else. I want to move on to the next section very, very quickly. And because the next section is about family and friends.
Yeah.
And I want to know, typically wives are the biggest critics of people, isn't it? Now,
Yeah.
you have been very adventurous. You married a doctor.
Yeah.
Nothing like a doctor. Manjiri.
Thank you, Manish.
So, tell us the story there. How did it happen? I believe you were doing your majors in London when you met her. Is that how it was?
No, we met
You've
through.
done our research, see?
So we met through a common friend, and I think as a doctor and me being an architect, so it's kind of a completely a different kind of coming together, because I think the first thing that she asked me is that can you pronounce the word anesthesia right, because that's the most wrongly spelled word, not pronounced, spelled word.
Spelled word.
So she wanted to test my intelligence, so she asked me give me the spelling of anesthesia.
And did you spell it right finally?
I hope I gave it right that point of time.
Okay, I know Manjari ji is right there. Do you think we can say hi to her? Quickly come in front of the camera if you're around.
Yeah,
please.
It's very much here. Come.
Manjari ji, you're there.
Yeah.
Hello. I know you didn't expect us to show you to others, but congratulations, you have a husband who can do everything, it seems.
Yes.
Right?
No, in fact, when we were coming to office, she was getting ready and she's saying, I am getting ready as if it's my session. So I said, good, come along.
So finally that happened. So great, we have you on screen, but at the same time, let me now show you Manjari ji off screen when she recorded something for you. So let's play that. Thank you so much.
Hi everyone. This is Dr. Manjari Puranik, wife of Mr. Shailesh Puranik. I've been told to speak about Shailesh as a husband. Let me first just say that he is a super achiever in real estate. He's reached these great heights purely out of his passion for his work. He's multi-talented. He's a great photographer. He's a very good singer. We both love to travel, and traveling is something which has enriched our lives as a couple. He is a doting father, a very dutiful son to his parents and to his sisters. Each day with Shailesh, each moment with him in our married life has been very, very fulfilling, enriching, and very interesting. We share a lot of common interests, and it's been fun. As a husband, he's one of the rarest breed. He's very loving, very caring, and has a very gentle soul. Sometimes I think he should be more tough, very, very sympathetic towards others. Sometimes I jokingly say that you don't find such husbands, so they don't make them anymore. I feel very blessed and gifted to have a husband like Shailesh. One thing he doesn't have in his dictionary, that is to say no. Whatever you ask for, there's always a yes. Be it a Gucci bag, a LV shoe, or the smallest of the small thing which I want in the house, he will always give without asking. I feel really I must have done some good karmas to have him as my husband. Thank you so much and love you all.
You were talking about barters, no? I think I'm going to barter this video with you. Watch this video, which you can show to her whenever she gets angry at you behind the camera.
Absolutely.
I'm going to ask half your kingdom for this video.
So much.
Did you expect her to give this nice an opinion?
So no. So what I expected is that some of the good things as well as some of the things that she wants me to improve. But I think this is a pleasant surprise that I've been hearing this. So I think that's a good idea, Manish. Maybe the partnership that we are entering into, you can put this on the other side of table as a bargaining chip.
That's what I'm saying. I have everything now. You have to say everything.
A better looking person than me on this show, which I'm not okay with.
But good one, and I'm so glad. And my next question was this: do you ever get slightly threatened? She's a doctor. I mean, she's well read. I mean, I know you're an architect as well, but doctor is a doctor, isn't it?
Yeah. So I'll tell you an incident. I had forgot about one. So we were traveling and we were on a plane. So there was a person who was not feeling well. It was sitting slightly ahead of us, and then suddenly there was an announcement that is there a doctor on the board. So I immediately told Manjari, so you know how doctors are. She said, it's okay. Let the other doctor handle this. I don't know. I'm on a holiday. I don't want to do this medical thing here. So I raised my hand. So then immediately that air hostess came to me and said, okay, yes, she's the doctor. She's my wife. And then, please. So she reluctantly got up. We went to that man. She was having, I think, some BP and anxiety thing and all that. So, I by the time we went there, I always carry this medicine bag with me. So it was already there in my hand. So she was thinking something and then taking pulse and all. So immediately 2-3 pills were ready with me that probably you want to give them this Trica or this Epizolam or something. So that were ready. One more person came in from the back and he was also a doctor. So he asked, what is this? I said, no, she's a doctor, she's handling. He said, who are you? I said, I'm her compounder. That's why I'm giving you this.
Good one.
That person actually believed. He said, okay, probably this doctor and the compounder is
travels with the compounder. Correct. To some exotic place. Wonderful. Okay, good one at that. We'll move on. Now, next question was, so family I've understood, and I know that you're a quite a quintessential family man. What about friends? How has it been with friends? Is it old relationships, or you keep developing friends as you go along? What is friendship to you?
So friendship is all the old and the new friends as well. And but I think the best friendships are which you make in your school days. So my daughter keeps on telling me that you have no friends because she every day talks 1 hour with her friends. So I don't talk with 1 hour every day, once in a while. But there are some friends who are working with me, so I get to talk to them about the normal thing as well as our school days. There are some friends who were with me in college, so I get to talk about that. So that's how it is. But I think friends have always been an important part of my life right from my childhood. And even to this time, whenever I find time, probably there are a few friends who I pick up phone call and call them just like that. From my college, from my school.
Sure.
Yes, they are my real friendships are with my school and college people. Very less after that, probably what it is banned. But I have not met somebody whom I can be friend after in my life after my college days.
So lovely. Let's show you a video of a friend.
Yeah.
Such days. Let's have that on, please, quickly.
I'm CA Rahul Gokhale. I think I have been chosen as a friend, and that too childhood friend of Shailesh. So my bite is likely to be towards our childhood memories. And who can be better suited than me, I believe, because we are childhood friends right from birth, born in the same building as a neighbor, went to the same school right from nursery till 10th standard. All the standards we were in the same class. So best of the friends, and I think I should admit best of the competitors as well, because we share a lot of memories of our competition. He was anyway the best. He was having the best of handwriting. He was good in drawings. He was good in the studies as well. I was also good, and I was good in debates, elocutions. So we had a competition and for different fields as well. But then I could never improve on my handwriting. But I believe Shailesh has improved a lot, and now in fact he has become an international speaker. But then this video will remind him that he owes it to me. Anyway, but then the climax of our competition and thing was, and our culmination of our school friendship days was 10th standard. I remember Shailesh used to be always second. He was never first till 10th standard. I was in top 5 or so. And 10th standard, we both changed the gears. We both were working hard as all. And the best part was to hide from each other. But then looking at each other, we both were trying to put in the best. And I think that year, for the first time, Shailesh stood first. I stood third. And I think both of us helped each other to, I think, excel in that year. And thereafter, I think he always had a great success in the life. He became the best of the architect. The competition ended, friendship remained. And in fact, now the friendship, competition has got converted to cooperation. We both are...
Okay, that's all right.
Yeah.
That was your childhood friend, Mohan. Gokhale, Mr. Gokhale, right?
Rahul
Gokhale, right.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Anything you remember in this entire friendship which was
So
funny?
I remember
That we should
fight with him, right from the childhood times. I remember that I used to go to one class and avoided telling him that I go to this class. I remember so many memories. But I think we're probably, as they show in the Hindi film, that two kids are born and they are kept aside in the same hospital room, and then a good girl passes and one of them being said looks at others. So we share that kind of thing. I remember it was 4th standard, and then we were used to come back like absolute friends. Shoulder to shoulder, walking side by side from our school to our house. We were staying in the same building.
Right.
We were just entering the building. I had started liking a girl from our class, and I was
Nice, 4th standard. Now there is story out there.
Yeah.
Listening.
So then I had to tell it to someone. So while entering the building, I kind of whispered into his ears, Rahul, I really like this girl. I'm in love with her. That's what I said. So he was expected to keep it to himself. He got psyched. He got psyched so much that he started crying out loud that Shailesh is saying such a thing. Shailesh is saying such a thing, and entire that building came to know that I am saying such a thing, and he never kept it to himself.
And that was 9 years or 10 years old that you both were, right?
Yeah.
Very interesting. Amazing. Friends will always remain friends ever since, if they're childhood friends. That's what happens. I want to move on very quickly from this section also. And Rishi, if we can just pose one question instead of 2 right now, and the rest I'm sure Shailesh would not hesitate to take during the, with FB later. So
Sure.
Can we have an open house, one question, and then we move on because we are running short.
Sure. So there is one question from Charul. She's asking, it's really hard to find a Bollywood actor who could possess so many talents like you. But if still you had to choose one actor who would represent you on the screen, who would it be and why?
No, there is no one. No, there is no one.
Shailesh, you will act in your own movie, looks like. Like you are anyway a photographer, right? That can always be converted into directorial skills. So maybe you'll be the director and the hero, is it?
Maybe.
But nobody, really?
I would be like Gurudat maybe.
Gurudat. Very good. Now, whoever this Charul is, I hope she's above 40, 50 years of age, otherwise she'll not know who Gurudat is. But that's all right. That's all right. Okay, we'll move on quickly to the most interesting conversation that we've been storing for the last, which is called the rapid cross-posations. And we will be absolutely happy to get Shailesh to answer the other questions for you. We will be, just like we've been answering earlier. So we will do in this case on FB when we post the video along with that. At this stage, please allow me to move on to the next one, which is also the most interesting portion, if I may say. Are you ready for the rapid fire round?
Maybe.
You better be ready. And
No, I
the
have a
only rule, yes, go on, please.
I have a coffee with me, so it's instead of coffee with Karan, which I always dreamed of going. So I have a coffee with Manish happening. So let's see.
Wonderful. Yes. गरीब आदमी का करण जौहर में हूं, लेकिन यहाँ पे अमीर आदमी का करण जौहर में बन गया हूं. That's great. Okay. The only rule in this one is you don't have to think. You just have to answer. You just have to feel an answer, and that's what you have to do. Okay. There we go. Starting right away. Question number 1: bike or car? What represents you well? Car. Okay.
Yeah.
Favorite cuisine?
Chinese.
Okay, I'm going easy right now. Adventure or lazy holiday?
Both.
Which one is more?
Both I like absolutely equal. So I want to go on lazy holidays sometimes and adventures holidays as well. So
Well, it's already pre-decided. This is going to be a lazy one. I'll be a couch potato. I'll just sit. Is that how it goes?
yeah, absolutely.
Okay, great. Since you're all about travel and holidays, I'm going on with this. Beach or mountains?
Mountains.
Okay. In your travel suitcase, these 3 things we will always find.
So you'll find a camera.
Uh-huh.
You will find a book, and you will always find the swimming gear.
Uh-huh. So you're a mountain guy and still swimming gear. I hope you're not swimming in minus, sub-zero level temperatures, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great. One thing that you would have done, and this question purposely is coming because Manjari is there. One thing that you would have done had you not been married.
No, I keep on telling this to my daughter that do not get married early. Do at least 3-4 live-ins, and after that, if at all you think, you get married.
Wonderful. That's a good idea. I believe in this as well. Okay, let's go on. What's your favorite mythological character? Mythologically, one character that you really love and why?
Krishna.
And why?
So because I have always been fascinated by Krishna, and the way he handles all parts of his life. So he's witty, at the same time he's a great strategist. There is nothing right or wrong for him. It's not like Rama that you have to speak truth, but it is as per the moment that he will reveal something. So there is called as Krishnamiti, which I was really fascinated by all my life. And then I met Krishna, real Krishna in my life.
Wonderful. And like Krishna, I think you have various personalities. He spits out different newer things every time. There are shades in his character, no doubt about it. But when you said, he handles so many, I was about to think you're talking about gopis. That is not the point. Okay, let's go. Your leadership benchmark, your father Ravindraji or uncle Gopalji?
So my father is Gopalji and my
sorry, the other way around. My mistake. Sorry.
Uncle is Ravindraji. So
Yes.
I'm really sorry, I do not have any benchmarks in the leadership, be it my father or any other leader that I can know of. But I really, for last few years, I am really looking up to the leadership skills of my master, because he runs an organization. It's not that it's only spirituality. And he own family, and then he has this organization, and then he has this spiritual thing that is happening. So I'm amazed when I analyze him from a purely practical leadership aspect of it. The way he talks, the way he handles discomfort or the discord between two people, the way he puts certain difficult things on you and helps you succeed in that, and keeps on guiding you, and he never judges you. So all the traits, in fact, once or twice I have been reading some Harvard articles on leadership, and those were absolutely fitting the way Dada Shriji was conducting meetings, or meeting new people, or handling some of the difficult issues in the organization, because Maitri Bodh Parivar is also an organization per se. So I think I have been looking up to him for last 6-7 years as a leader also.
Okay, great, got it. And that was brave, and that was very, very upfront, saying that it was not your father or uncle, but it was your spiritual guru. Fantastic. One person that you're afraid of.
Politician, your nearby politician.
Well. Thane and politicians and the past doesn't go very well together. But okay, I'll live with that.
Thane. You go to any part of town, Thane, be it Pune or many other parts like wherever we have been operating, like Nasik we have done, Lonavala we have done, Karjat we have done. So it's always the next door politician.
Okay, let me ask you another question then. In that case, which was never there in my question list, but will you ever become a politician in your life?
So I have contemplated it. I will not lie. But I think the time has passed. So I think I had met somebody who had told me that you will either become this great leader or a politician or a great master. So, I've asked that that wanting or thinking. I was not wanting, but I had thought about it. But I no longer think about it, and I don't want to be.
You don't want to be at this moment, but you're open to it.
No, I'm not open to it now.
Oh, is it? Okay, got it. Okay, one thing that you'd love to change about yourselves.
Yeah, so my laziness, because I see many people, with me in my profession, in my spiritual organization, they just go on and, be it 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. or 11 p.m., they are okay. But, there is a part of me that after 9 or 8:30 p.m., I just do not want to do anything. Although with now increasingly I'm doing a lot of things, but there is a part of me which, just wants to, sit on this sofa.
Be the way you are. If you look at it more, there'll be not enough work for others to do. So don't do it. It's all right. Okay, yeah. I'll move on quickly. What's the most common fight you have with Manjari ji?
Sorry.
Most common fight you have with Manjari ji?
Most common fights.
What is it about?
So I think it's about things. So I'm a very, very perfectionist. So if I remove the glares, so I would want to keep it like this, and her glares would be lying like this. So that is the most important thing. The cleanliness, I'm a fanatic. Even in my house, if I'm wearing something, if it is not properly ironed, then I would not like it, and she'll just throw things here and there, and the things are lying.
You're fortunate. The problem is the reverse.
Yeah.
It's exactly the opposite.
Yeah. So I want the perfect sugar and the perfect salt and the perfect the khatta and everything, but she would be okay with anything. So all these things.
When she was young, she did a mistake. She asked for the perfect husband, and there it was. Poof.
Yeah, you're so right.
So that's a mistake.
Yeah.
Okay. The most embarrassing moment that you ever faced in your life.
Couple of things. So one I can remember.
So one will do quickly because we're running out of time.
So I think I remember it because Rahul is here, and he just had this video. So I think one thing I had was never to do in my childhood life was go out and stand and speak to a lot of audience. So I was good at everything else but that. So my mother kind of forced me that see, Rahul is good at it, so you should also do it because you are good at everything else. Kind of in school everybody was talking about me. So I participated in one contest around 6th, 7th. And then I went out and stood there. And then I said, okay, this is Shailesh, and then I'm going to talk about this. And then I kind of completely blanked out. And immediately the next words were, thank you so much. This is my speech, and thank you so much. And I just kind of ran away from there. So I
you did the beginning of the speech and the end of the speech and forgot everything in the middle.
Yes.
Wonderful. That's a good one. So that was embarrassing, no doubt. Yeah. Wonderful. Okay. Favorite travel destination, coming back to travel?
Europe.
Looks like, because a lot of pictures of Europe there from there. I was looking at your pictures and I figured that out. Okay. Vacation with friends or with spouse?
With spouse.
That she already told us. Yeah. Your health mantra, what is it?
Health mantra is, see, I have been, whatever you do, if you do regularly. So for example, I'll tell you this last 5 months, I have been regularly doing the yogasanas and pranayam and Surya Namaskar. So it was on the bucket list that I want to do 108 Surya Namaskars at one point of time.
How many can you do actually right now?
So I did 108 in the 3rd month of lockdown. I reached 108. So I did that. And there is another thing that was there that, I could never touch my toes with my hand because I always had this stiff spine. But for last 1 month or so now, I am able to do that because of my regularity in the yogasanas and all the pranayam and all the practices that I'm doing. And I'm really, really glad. I always wanted to do this in my entire life.
Wow, isn't that a great use of the lockdown period?
Yeah.
Fantastic. Got it. The last question, maybe slightly no, last thing, second last question, maybe slightly serious. Ultimate belief, is it self or is it God?
So self is God.
I heard this before from somebody else as well. So respect that. Last question.
That's the most important teaching of Dada Shriji, and that's the most basic teaching of that you have to become in this your life to first a good human being and God Himself, and become one with Him. That is the ultimate journey, and that's the ultimate destination, Dada.
Okay. The last one, the last question. You recently chose an agency that was Alchemist. Why was that?
So
Okay,
we had decided that we will take interview or get CREDS presentation from 8 or 9 agencies. So I had the list. You were the first who presented, and I'll tell you frankly, after you presented, the next thing I told Manjari, because she's also involved in the marketing part of it, and then my brother Yogesh, I told that this is the agency that we are looking for, and I probably would not look at other CREDS presentation. I have been fascinated by this agency, and I also wanted to start my agency on my one day. But then I have dealt with Ogilvy, I have dealt with Leo Burnett, I have dealt with a lot of smaller to mid-sized agencies also. But what you're looking for from an agency, that one is passion and one is the strategic thinking. I must admit that after we have now finalized our commercials, that I can admit that, and I found that in you, and that I have to be frank. That's why I.
So sweet, Ganesh. I was only joking, but I got a whole plug for myself. That was fantastic. I never planned it that way. I promise it, but we got a plug. So thank you so much, and thank you to the team who did all that was required to impress you. Fantastic at that. And with that, we are coming to a very quick end to this episode. But before we go, 2-3 things to tell you. First, our next guest, Shailesh, who's going to follow you, is going to be another absolute wonderful young gentleman out there, a friend and a wonderful talker, Mohit Goel, the CEO at Omax. Omax is one of the top builders in this country, especially up north, not just up north. And we have also had the pleasure of working with them in particular, created Omax Chalk for them and so on and so forth. So we are having him next, Shailesh, after you, a good guy to follow, a great guy again. So please tune in. We are going to send you all the links, etc. Please do watch this one. And before I go, 2 other things quickly. Thank you to my team, the production team. You get to see me and you get to bear me on the screen. But a lot of people do a lot of work to get all this episode starting from Farhan to Upasna to Anandita, Mandar, Joanne, Rishi, who has been the voice behind right now, Kalpesh, Rohan, Shivam, Ranjit, Suyash, Manushi, Ekta, and Ashwin. Thank you for being there. Thank you for producing the show for all of us. And yes, before we go, we want to leave you behind with a little video that we've created out of the pictures that you shared with us, Shailesh, at some point in time. And ladies and gentlemen, please do have a look at these pictures. They will tell you the real Shailesh, who's not just a great entrepreneur or a great leader, a business leader, but he's also a singer, he's a poet, he's a traveler, he's a photographer, everything else. And God, thank God for this, that he didn't start his own agency. Otherwise, I would have had a huge competition out there. So thank you so much. Please have a look.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shailesh, for coming to the show. And here is your video. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for hanging in and hanging around for a little longer than what is usual. Thanks again to our lovely guest for today, Shailesh Puranik, the MD at Puranics. And thank you all for giving us your holiday to view this. You can again view this on FB later if you want. Absolutely out there for you. Thank you so much. And Shailesh, yes, we'll pose some questions to you that have come later.
Thank you. Thank you, Manish.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Have a great
Bye.
day and a great weekend and a great Independence Week.